Thank you. Okay, today is April 7th and we are, this is our last item
Oh, it is, okay.
in institutions. And we have Scott Moore from Ledge Council who will,
Very close, Madam Chair.
did I say the wrong thing?
The Joint Fiscal Office.
I'm sorry. Of course, I was thinking that on the money side,
Money's not,
and the math side.
not money.
So we're looking forward to
Sure.
hearing from you about the capital bill. We don't have possession yet, but particularly we want to look at the cash fund because that's probably the decision that will need to be made first.
Well, good afternoon. For the record, Scott Moore, Joint Fiscal Office. I brought presents for you. I brought a couple things. This is the capital bill as passed for Act 33. I thought maybe it'd be helpful to have just as a reference for you all, so you can cross-reference different things. So there you go. This way, if you're trying to compare and see how everything may or not change.
I think it's coming this way. Thank you.
And then I brought a spreadsheet for us. This is the same spreadsheet that we had before, but I tried to take into consideration how best to show everything that would be on changes and everything else. So, so what I did just to orient people to the spreadsheet, on the previous spreadsheet that we had from the house, there was a section of blue columns, gray columns, and red columns. I've taken the blue column, which is Act 33, which is the first year I passed out bill, and I basically hid them. So they're still on my spreadsheet, they're just tucked away. And then the gray columns, what the governor had recommended. Anything the governor recommended changing from Act 33 is in this tan color. Then the House recommend this red set of columns in the middle. Anything the House recommended to change is in this yellow highlight. And the green highlight will be the Senate recommend. Once we do it right now, the top header does say House recommend, only because that is the number of the House bills is 952. And once we make some changes to that, we can change things then. So on the right-hand column, these green columns, these have no highlights at all. This is where we'll make our changes. Anything we change, I'll put a different highlight on here. At the moment, and we're basically saying we accept everything the House did and the governor did. That's the way I would read this. That's not going to be the end result. That's why it has draft. The
Okay.
draft in the top, you'll see it says draft version number 1. It's purpley. Didn't come up printed very well for purple, but my screen is purple. So with that said, we can go through and start talking about all the changes that were made. And then, Madam Chair, I'm just going to tell you everything that changed, bonded in cash, 26 and 27. And then we can come back and focus on just the cash transactions if you would like,
Okay.
whatever works for you.
Well, I mean, we did go through both of them before.
Mhm.
So if you don't mind starting with the cash.
Sure. So what I did was I prepared a separate set of notes that just looks at when any item that has cash. Sometimes the cash got changed, sometimes it didn't. But anything that has cash, I have a separate set of notes on here so I can just go through and we can compare to the spreadsheet so we can see.
Let me ask you a question first, please.
course.
The cash from last year.
Yep.
That's done and we're not. Is this actuals?
So anything that was done for the cash in FY26, none of that's changed.
So I understand. So on the spreadsheet, it won't change. And I guess what I'm asking is, would it be incorrect if we did try to change something because it's already been spent?
Not necessarily. In the House last year, they did make some changes to, let me rephrase that, last biennium in the House, they made some changes in the second year of biennium to the first year of biennium's cash. So it could be done. I would hesitate to make a lot of those changes without checking into the agency to make sure they haven't spent it. But sometimes the agency has it, they haven't spent it yet. For FY 26, where that is something that is not unheard of, that you can make a change to FY 26 cash, even though we're in the middle of FY 26.
So when they do reversions, do they not look at the cash?
The reversions are all for things that are 3 years old and older.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that is, and even then, the repo committee, as it's called, goes and brings in everyone and says, look, you've got stuff on the line here from 3 years ago. You gonna spend it this year? You're not gonna spend it? Can we have it back? What's the deal? Occasionally they're like, oh, we didn't even know we had that 3 cents. And so we did reclaim
Okay.
3 cents of it.
Yeah,
Come on,
we're very proud of you.
and sometimes they're like, oh, yeah, we have plans for this. Okay, well, if you don't spend it by June, we have to revert it and reallocate it, that kind of stuff. But in general, most of the things that are here FY 26, I mean, you could change it. I know Commissioner Manoli would come in and speak to you about
Yeah.
things that may have been allocated already for cash.
Well, actually, I'll just ask, the representative, not to answer the question, but if you could just relay the question, please. It would be nice to just be able to ignore that if it should be ignored, the cash from last year.
Okay.
Thank you.
So line 1 on section 2 is the agency of administration. Line 1 is the statewide major maintenance. This is a buildings and general services line. In FY, I guess it will, I'm trying to keep the moving parts as simply moved as possible. So I'll just speak to all aspects of bonding and cash. That way we don't get confused, that I maintain the same standard format. FY 26 bonded did not change. FY 27 bonded did change, and that change was a change that the House changed to the governor rate. In that particular instance, the House added money to what the governor rate had been. When we look at FY 20, I said FY 26 did not change, FY 27 did change. So therefore the total bonded did change, and you can see on the spreadsheet, the line 1, the gray columns, there's a tan, and then in the red columns, there's a yellow. They basically added money to what the government recommended for major maintenance. Then we get to the part we care about right now, which is the cash part of this.
I'm sorry, can we, I just wanna, this is the time that we can be
Yeah, we can
precise
go
on things.
slow.
So the major maintenance FY 27 bonded was 8.5 million,
correct.
and then it went down to 1.2 in the second, and the governor recommended.
The government recommended 8.5 million in bonded. The 1.2 is the cash.
Oh, that's the cash fund, right. Okay, good. So then
the
the
House added-
9.013 is in the same category as the 8.5. So that's the increase.
Yeah, the House increased the
Okay.
bonus section by $513,413.
Okay. And we'll hear from them unless it's easy for you to say.
My recollection for that is this was some leftover, as you go through and do all the reallocations for the different bonding line items. At various points in time, okay, we have extra money to spend, where are we gonna put it? And so in general, they kind of sweep it, the Commissioner Manoli, because there's always need for major maintenance in different buildings. So that's kind of what with that.
Okay.
Then we look at the cash, which is what we care about. FY 26 cash. And FY 27 cash. Both of those were things that the GovRec had changed from Act 33. And you can see that in the tan highlights. The House didn't change anymore. The House concurred with the governor rec was. So there's no other changes made other than the GovRec had increased things and the House agreed. They were content with that increase.
Okay, and same going down to the Rutland.
Yep, if we jump down to line 2, which is statewide planning, use and contingency. There was, I'm sorry, line 2, I meant to say line 3, statewide physical security enhancements. We can see that there is the tan on the cash side, the governor had changed. The House does not have any yellow, the House concur with what the governor had added. Then we go down to line 6, which is a little bit confusing because there is a yellow in line 4, but that yellow is what the House has done in bonding. There's no cash involved in this, so we're just skipping ahead to just the cash stuff.
Yeah. And the House concurred with the
Yeah.
governor in that section.
If the House is
Exactly.
yellow, they're changing. If the House is white, they're concurring.
Right, but in the cash, I'm seeing all white.
Yeah.
Okay,
For line 6.
for section 2, the agency of administration.
The cash, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, the whole section, the House concurred with the governor, changes will make.
yes, but let's just stick on with the cash if that's good for you guys. Yeah,
Line 6, the Asa Bloomer building, the government did add cash in FY27. The House was content with that.
Yeah.
Line 7, the governor added cash in FY27 for the Rutland multi-level garage renovation. And the House was content with that. Then we get to line 10, Montpelier State House repainting, not repainting. There were no changes there, but I do want to point out we did have cash involved in that particular section. No changes made, but there is cash. You might want to think about that when you think about bringing things to House, I'm sorry, Senate appropriations. Same thing with line 14. There's no changes made, but there is cash involved. Line 16, Burlington 32 Cherry Street parking garage repairs. The governor adds $3 million to the FY27 cash, and the House was concurring with that.
so what was the rationale to put it in cash instead of bonded?
I can't
I
speak.
guess bonded, we were at our limit, that's probably it.
Or the repairs that they were proposing to do couldn't be proven out to be 20 years.
Oh, okay,
I don't want to speak to what the governor intended, but
okay,
I can tell you that the way the formula worked, where the cash fund gets money up to 4%, there was about a $17 million influx of cash to this, so they had cash to spend. So that's helpful. And that was one of the projects that they picked, was spending $3 million here.
and was that the anticipated amount or was it higher than expected?
The formula is up to 4%, and so it's hard to know what it would be expected or not. I don't know if
you.
I don't know if the governor had any anticipation as to what that amount would be based upon the actual revenue for the state.
Okay. Good, thank you.
That's all of section 2. There were some other changes to the bonding, but we're now just want to focus on the cash. And like you said, Madam Chair, the House was content with what the governor had changed in the cash sections in section 2. Section 3, when we look at this, the first changes to cash are down on line 21. This is the Agency for Human Services. And in line 21, the government recommended to add another $1 million in cash.
For the HVAC upgrades.
Yep.
It's been a long time coming, but we've been working on it for a long time. Okay, we'll have conversations about that, okay?
Line 23, the statewide correctional facility safety and security upgrades. Again, the governor added 225,000 in cash.
Okay,
Line 28, where things get a little interesting. The statewide door control Department of Corrections. The governor had added money into the cash, and the House did not concur with this. The House ended up proposing just $700,000. I think the governor was 2.7 million, if I recall correctly. So the House decided they felt that they need all of it.
Reasoning? Yeah, I mean, I know.
Well, look, 2 lines further down and you'll see where they put it. They have other priorities.
Line 20, I think line 29 now. Line 29, Newport Northern State Correctional Facility boiler replacement. Again, the GovRec and the House both made changes. And you can see the GovRec had one number and the House had different numbers. So the final number will be $1 million in cash. That's one of the few times we have changes that the House made to what the governor recommended for cash. Most of the time, the House did concur what the governor had recommended for cash expenses. Keep in mind, a lot of moving parts. Got
Mhm.
cash, bonding, 26, 27.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to be careful and precise.
right, so then the Wi-Fi,
Yep, we can jump out to that. Line 30, if we do Wi-Fi, line 30 DCFU stabilization facility, the GovRec was to add $772,000 in cash. There is language in the bill about the youth stabilization facility. If you hadn't had a chance to see that in the budget, there's language in the budget as well. The House has some thoughts as to working with DCF on this. So there's some language you should read. I speak to that's a job question. But here we do have $772,000 cash. Then we get to line 31, the Wi-Fi installation in the state correctional facilities. We can see the House made a change of GovRec, which is to add $3 million into the Wi-Fi installation. I don't want to speak for them, but I can tell you that one of their concerns was this has been a project that had been ongoing for a number of years, and no movement had been made, so they wanted to have money there to express movement. So. Line 32, replacement women's reentry and correctional facilities. Again, the governor had not recommended anything there, but the House recommended adding $1.25 million in cash. And this is, again, just to add money to the bank to replace or fix or whatever the correction facility. And it's going to be expensive projects. So they have some money they want to put there for that. So we can do
An assistant stopper.
correct.
and so, are you the person to ask to give us the fund balance?
I don't have it off my head. I could try to find it, but
Right, no, not right now, but I think it's important that we know
I might ask
the amount.
EGS, because they'll know which step I did. Somebody
Okay,
when I look,
okay,
so
thank you.
we can have Cole emails to us.
Well, we don't need it now, but we need to know the,
Yeah.
the
And
value.
I could probably find it, but again, it would be most likely easier for Cole to find things.
Okay. So I'm calling it the fund balance, but I don't know how it's, I don't think it's its own fund, but there is an account
Yeah, so much funds are like.
allocated
Allocated
or
close.
separate, yeah. I don't know if they're appropriated. I think maybe they are.
Really, it's just finding the depth ID and figure out how much is not been
Yeah.
uncovered.
Yeah,
Make
if
sure
they are
that-
encumbered, I don't know if they're, well, whatever the right word is, please let us know what that is. Yes.
We'll have that for Miles' testimony.
Great, thank you.
And as I think I mentioned before, all of these things, once they actually make it through the passage of the bill, everything gets a specific department ID, and that's how we can keep track of all these things. When we look
Right.
at reallocations, you'll see those numbers on there, you're like, what is this number, Scott? And then the specific department ID or depth ID, which allows us to track it. So I could find Movement Director facility, can find that depth ID, can find the number, but I don't have that on my head, so quote can find it after.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
That is what we have for section 3. Moving on to section 4, commerce and community development. There are some cash aspects in here, line 39, no one made any changes from Act 33. And that was line 39.
Yes, please, budgeted housing pressure. I think this might be the thing that we did last year.
Yeah. We put that in the section, I just pointed out only because it happened to have cash.
But there's not a change, right?
No changes.
Okay,
And you did it last year, you were happy with it last year, so in theory, you're happy with it now. Section 6.
that's a big jump, but.
Vermont, so, Vermont Veteran Summit again, there was money put in last year in Act 33 when we did this bill. 1.5 million for line 59, design and construction for the renovation. The one thing the House did do was, they wanted to put in some language to the veterans some has some flexibility, to be able to move money, for renovation and sprinkler systems in there. And I think there's actual language in the bill. If not, I know John did change that line item. But that gives them some more flexibility as needed. And the same with line 60, the sewage system overhaul. They added an elevator upgrades to this. FY 27 bond did change and FY 27 cash did change. This is again a little bit of an interesting journey. The governor had decided to put in some cash. The House took that cash out to move the cash somewhere else. Instead of having $500,000, they ended up putting $1.2 million in. Some of that money was from reallocations. Some of that money was just left over, it's all a big pot and you make your priorities. But they felt that this is more of a priority for them. So they added $750,000 to what the governor rec had done. But they took the cash out. Now they get the bond. It's a little bit of a journey on that.
Well, and the projects have changed a few times.
Yeah.
But they've all been, in my opinion, logical when they made the change.
And what they had said was they were always, again, leftover money in some projects, they want to be able to use that money in a slightly different project. So the House did delete the governor recommended in cash, but the House increased the governor recommended in bonding. So a little bit of a roundabout. Section 9, agency of natural resources. Line 76, the state 20% match for federal drinking water capitalization grants. The governor added money in cash in FY 27, almost $2.5 million, and the House was content with that.
So that's interesting because it kind of implies that there was more federal money available than what we thought was going to be available, because we would always want to make that match. Okay.
And then moving on to line 78. Waterbury Dam Penstock project cost. Cost overruns monitoring equipment. The government was to add $150,000 in cash in FY 27. The House was content with that.
Okay.
Line 79, Forest Park and Rec Park infrastructure. FY 27, there were $400,000 added by the governor. And the House was content with that. I do want to point out line 82. There's no change been made. There was cash in FY 25. I'm sorry, there was $25,000 in FY 26 for the Fish and Wildlife Lake Champlain Walleye Association. There's no money in this bill this year for that. However, I want to make sure everyone's very clear that money is appropriated in the big bill, in the big budget for Lake Champlain Walleye Association. So it's not funneling through the capital bill, but it is in the budget bill.
Why? Is that what you said?
The House had expressed concerns last year about the proper way for the money to be asked for. I
Mm,
guess is the easiest way to say it. And they felt that the process of coming here instead of going to Fish and Wildlife and doing it that way, skipped a step, and so they decided, yeah, it's easier to just go through the budget process. But I don't want to speak for them, but that was my recollection
Okay.
from what we talked about last year.
How's it happened in the past?
After the,
Capitals.
they never liked it. Mazu was here and he could keep it in there and then I could keep it in there for a little while longer and you remember the battle last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It just, yeah.
well, and it wasn't even,
It's 25,000.
well, we added it
And if
in
you
every
really
year.
know what it did,
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I know.
It-
I mean, I
Single-handedly, $25,000 a year saved the walleye fishery in the state of Vermont. But there's some people that don't like walleye.
I think the people do like,
No, they don't. You can stick up for them here, but they don't. It's been a battle for a
I'm
long
sticking up
time.
for the wall.
Long before you were here. It's been a battle.
I know, but there's been multiple iterations. All right, so what happened was the 25 was taken out of 27.
And I think the gov reg didn't even put it in 27.
Wow.
It was, the decision was made, just put it in the base funding for Forest Park and Rec, I'm sorry, for Fish and Wildlife. And ta-da, but I want to make sure you all are assured that the money that's there,
Yeah,
it's just not through this vehicle.
does Fish and Wildlife have a separate line item for it?
I'd have to go double check their budget, but I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be good to know.
I just, the thing that I worry about is by doing it a separate way. I'm not trying to, and I know it's 25,000. It seems very insignificant, but what it's actually done is when it's in here, we know it's here. We know we're going to every year. We're not, if it goes someplace else, you know.
It really is a success story.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
It's nice to have those success stories.
I guess I'm saying this preemptively. Cause I mean, and I know it's $25,000, but I'd like to try for it to get it back.
Yeah, I understand. It's a great
Yeah.
program.
So,
And
I'm sorry.
not to, I'm completely agnostic on this issue,
Of course you are.
but this is exactly why we want to look at the cash.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we decide that we will let the 25,000 back in the capital bill, then the budget bill would reduce their line item by 25,000 and add 25,000 here. So it was those moving parts that we have to have. So,
Okay, so it is in the appropriations.
sure, yeah.
Okay.
Continuing with Fish and Wildlife line 83. The gov rec did add $200,000 and change map 33 to the cash, but again, this is expenditure of that 17 million that came in.
I'm sorry, so what about the 17 million?
The governor had $17 million to spend
Oh.
in cash,
Okay,
and this was how they spent $200,000 on it.
well, dam safety is really important, so
And the House was content
I'm glad.
with that line. Jumping to section 13, Department of Public Safety, line 117, the USAR facility. The governor had recommended adding $500,000 in cash, and the House was content with that.
Okay, and that facility is,
The search and rescue facility,
oh, yeah, okay.
I can't remember,
Is it a facility or is it is that their stuff that's in a warehouse?
I believe it's the stuff in the warehouse, but I don't want to speak to that
Okay.
necessarily. I know
I mean, the equipment,
the equipment.
yeah.
And there was some talk upstairs about rehabbing the old police barracks in Williston. I'm not sure if you remember that or not. That was last year. We talked about it a little bit. I know Joe Asia talked a little bit. I'm trying to remember all the times I've heard everybody talking about committees, and so sometimes it blurs.
Yeah,
But if you have questions about that, I'm Joe could
okay.
speak to that.
I thought they provided some testimony to us about.
I think they did. Yeah, Yeah,
Jumping to section 14, line 123.
right, so I'm sorry, just one second. So, right, so this could be the home for the equipment rather than the equipment. That's what you're saying.
I would think so. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they talked about, is they needed a permanent place.
Right, and something not dripping. Okay.
I know one of the things they spoke to and liked about the police barracks is the proximity to the interstate and Lake Champlain for search and rescue on the lake. So having it not to try to lobby for Chittenden County, but that was one of the things that it is right by my house. I drive by every day, so
Do you feel safer?
I feel great.
Okay.
Section 14, the judiciary, line 123, Essex County Courthouse Connector. The rec had added $500,000 in cash FY 27. And the house was fine with that addition. Line 125, the White River Junction Courthouse renovation. The rec had added $1.6 million in cash in FY 27. And the house was fine with that. And line 126, the Newport Courthouse replacement. Again, this is a little bit of some differences. The governor had added money in bonding. The governor had added money in cash. And then the House decided to take the cash out from that in FY 27.
And leave the other
Left the
state.
bonding. Left the
Yeah.
bonding alone, they just changed the cash. I did want to point out, you'll see a zero in the cash. Currently, as looking for the government had done.
Can we go back to the Weber rejection question? Of course. So I just have to find out what exactly that is, because it's done.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, it's done and open. And so I would just like to know what that 1.6 is for, not that it, I'd love an additional 1.6 for my community for absolutely nothing. But,
Looks like.
If I may,
yes, please.
Barney, BGS for the record, the 1.6 would be used for bank stabilization on court.
Yes,
With the river,
yes.
so that's what those funds would be.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
that's-
really, because
that's
you don't
kind of
want that nice new courthouse to go into
Yeah.
the river.
Thank you.
We talked about Newport, section 15, Vermont Rural Fire Protection. No changes have been made, but we want to point out there's cash there from FY 26. Section 16, the Vermont Historical Society. This is line 137. And this would be a Munkers climate control unit replacement. The gentleman came in from the society and explained all about how it works. It's kind of a neat system. I think he came here too. And
Yeah.
around different things, which I thought was really neat, that that's the active history. The total cash needed for that unit would be $566,724 in FY 27 cash. That's what the governor could put in, and the House was content with that. Those are all the changes that have anything to do with tax. There's some other positive changes, which I can do the same thing for 91 days. Not any other bonded changes. But I know you have focusing on your cash done because of the budget done sooner rather than later. I want this touch bases on those.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So what is the total tax?
The total cash number that's involved in the entire bill.
Yes, is it that 23?
1 second.
Is it,
So one thing I did not talk about was the reallocations in that.
but are there,
That's just extra money that's coming in, so there's gonna be any changes, unless you chose not to, you can go against the statute said, and not bring those back, but. That would be,
is it that 23 million? It can't be 23.
just pop down there,
On line 142?
yeah, the total cash fund sources. look at line 200. Total cash fund inclusive of the 17 million that was added this year plus cash fund interest. This is all section 19. And there is all the reallocations that have been done last year and this year. So it's actually a total of $36 million in cash in this particular bill.
But,
But 23.
but just 27 cash.
Just 27 cash would be 23.4. Correct. Yep.
So how does 26 cash? It doesn't, we're not changing that, or,
There haven't been no changes to 26 cash. That is correct.
and so whether or not it's been spent or used, we don't need to worry about that. And,
Okay. I mean, the $13 million is what was in this bill for cash last year.
right,
We did last year, which is for this fiscal year, which has 3 more months left in this fiscal year. It is entirely possible a department or agency has not spent all of the cash yet. You have to double check with them. I know what I've been seeing, you've had a lot of the agencies come in and talk about the program health pensions. But FY 26 cash has been basically allocated and clearly ready to expend it.
okay. And so, okay, any questions? From folks? Can we talk about the cash fund sources?
Sure. What would you like to know?
Well, they're different than the cash fund expenditures, which we just went over. So this here on the last page.
The total cash fund sources in FY 27 is 23 million and the total cash fund expenditures is 23 million.
Right, but these are other items. Planning, reuse, contingency, state renovation, HVAC, admin, West Cottage. So those look like other projects.
Oh, lines 191, 192, all of those. out
Yeah.
there? Yeah, those are the reallocations that the governor had found.
Okay,
And they're in TAN because last year, we can see 199 and 190. Those were cash reallocations that were done last year. And then 191, so forth and so on. These are all cash give backs from the governor or clawbacks from the House Repo Committee that went and found the money. I don't think the House Repo Committee found any cash. But all of these here, 191 through 198, those are all projects that either have gone under budget and or for instance, I'll use Commissioner Manoy as an example. She may have said, here's a project that we're not gonna need as much cash today. We might come back next year, but the cash is out of the statutory limit over 3 years and we need to give it back or we use it to do something with it. So it comes in and drops to the bottom line and we spend it.
okay, so these are other reallocations.
Yeah, these are the allocations, isn't it?
So I'm gonna, so Cole, just so that you can highlight the EV charging stations and the DCF stabilization facility. I'm gonna have questions on those, and probably some of the others.
Yeah. So just to talk through some events and some ways just for your illumination, like one, well, EV charging station 197. That was a project that was, the cash was given to it in FY 23. How much, maybe they were given $1 million, I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe they came back and said, oh, we don't need all million, so here's 995,000 back. Or maybe they were given 10 million and they didn't give the last million. And don't quote me on those numbers, I don't remember, but just as an example, so what the governor had done was they went through, they checked with everyone and said, how much money you got? How much money we can put back into this? Because we have other priorities. Are you using it? Are you not using it? What's the deal? So this one was about $1 million of not used money. I don't want to say leftover because maybe they do have intentions for it in the future. They just didn't, spend it this year and maybe they decided this was a better use of this money, could be a different project. But that would be a question for BGS for that specific item. But Commissioner Malloy can come in and explain why there was this extra $1 million in that project.
Right.
And these are the numbers I was talking about earlier, the depth IDs. You see like 90023011815.
Right.
So this is the actual line item that goes into the system so we can track it and post bills to it and then keep tracking all the money across the life.
So, just, it's not what we're talking about today, but the Brandon and Cardinal renovations at the Vermont, Veterans Home, so that's line 190.
Yep.
So that's, and it's not revenue, but it's going back into the
So
pot.
if you remember last year, what they said was
They were switching,
they were switching
Yeah.
from the VNC wings to the A wings. I think A stands for American, if I remember correctly.
right,
So what we did last year was, even though this money might not have been at that statutory limit in terms of it needs to come back into the bill. What they said was, we have this $1.5 million. It is earmarked for this project. We would rather be able to spend this money on this other project. So they essentially did a swap. They said, here's the money back, but if you look up in that right, 26, you'll see the American Wing, that $1.5 million money there, basically.
so, turns out I have a couple more questions, 186.
Yep.
Annual, general fund transfer, is that the 4%?
That's the up to 4%, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is it 4% this year?
From what I remember of the formula, it is actually 4%. I don't think it's ever not been 4%,
Okay,
but statutorily it's not the 4%.
right, I understand.
If you remember last year, and I misspoke a little bit. Last year, up to 4% was actually not 9 million, it was a higher number, if you recall. 11 million, maybe, I don't remember. But there was an amount of money that was given to appropriations to the cash, and so essentially, Senator Engel did mention how, where's my money, Scotty? People need to make this into me. So that 9 million is not up to 4%. It's a little bit less than that, only because last year's bill, the House committee decided not to take the full 4% and leave some money for appropriations to spend on lights.
Interesting.
But the 17 million is the 4%.
It is the 4%.
The
The 17016, I mean, the whole.
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's helpful. Well, this is good. This is a good start. Anybody have questions? It's exciting, right? We're getting there. Okay,
I don't know if exciting is the word that came to
Yeah.
mind, but okay, that's where you want to go.
all right.
I like
You like exciting?
Yeah, I guess excited.
Yeah, because it's the beginning.
Hey, you're not that excited tonight, so calm it down. Just calm it down.
For me, this is.
All right, there we go.
I look for you to be the stoic voice.
And when the time comes, we'll make changes, we'll add highlights, we'll do the whole process over here, whatever you need. And I hope this works, giving you last year's pack. And then you can see
Yes.
It does,
the three things. So
Right.
you kind of compare.
Yes, so.
right.
Otherwise, the spreadsheet, if it's this big or this tiny, it's really hard to read.
Yeah, this is helpful because this isn't gonna change. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, folks?